G'day everyone, I just wanted to quickly share my thoughts on this knife, which is the Mad Dog Centurion. I bought this knife about a year ago, pretty much based on the myth around the A.T.A.K blade, which is a 7-inch blade. This is a 6-inch blade. I finally pulled the trigger on this one. It's an extremely expensive knife in my opinion, and when I got it, it was quite a big disappointment, to be very honest. Now the first disappointment was the sheath. It makes a lot of noise, which isn't great. Other than that, it's a very simple sheath. It's got very limited attachment options. So if we look at the sheath, you can see there's no holes down the bottom. It comes with a 1.5 inch belt loop, which is the only option you have. So there is no way to attach this other than on your belt. You can maybe tie it through here, but there's no other options. There's no molly system that's supported here. So if you want to modify this, you would have to probably drill your own holes and maybe attach an M-lock or a T.A.K lock system to this belt loop, which allows you then to change the angles and how you can carry it. But this is out of the box what it is. It's just a folded piece of Kydex and folded backwards over itself to create this belt loop. Now, just to show you some other options of knives that I have, and like I said, I don't have any affiliation with any of these knife makers. I don't get paid for this, so this is just my opinion. This is a TRC knife, and as you can see, the sheath that comes with this out of the box has all these holes. It comes with some of the bungee cord that you could use for attaching it. Turn it around, you can see it's got this molly system that you can use. The belt loop, you can adjust. So if you've got a bigger belt, you can simply, open this one up. You can reattach this to the other side. So if you're, let's say, left-handed, you can sort of unscrew this, put it on this side, so it's fully symmetrical. And I think it's a much better sheath than this one, which comes out of the box, right? Another option, which is probably my preference, is this Cordura sheath from Spartan Blades. If you look at this one, it's, first of all, it's very quiet. So it still comes with a Kydex insert, but it's got some felt on top of it, so it makes it very quiet. It has attachment options at the front, so I've got molly system here, so I can attach whatever, a Leatherman or anything I want to. Sharpening system. At the back, I've got these molly loops all the way to the top, so I can use those. I've got these little loops all along both sides, so I can use that, and it comes with a piece of paracord that you can then use to attach it any way you want to. This belt loop is really sort of versatile. You can use this primary belt loop here down the bottom, which I think allows for probably a 2 or 2.5 inch belt. If you've got a bigger belt, you can simply go one level up and you just stick it underneath this, and your belt can stick out, right, if it's a bigger belt. You can use this also for other knives, because this closing loop, this retention loop, you can readjust it, so you can make it bigger or smaller to fit another knife. So it's a very versatile sheath compared again to this piece of Kydex. Now, looking at the blade itself, when I got this out of the box, I wasn't able to cut paper with it. I had to literally rip through the paper, and it wasn't slicing through it. So the reason was that the angle of the grind was just very wide. I think too wide in my opinion. So I had to regrind that bevel. Now when I did that, you can probably see that here, I noticed that the width of the cutting edge here on this corner piece was wider than the rest of the blade. Now why is that? It's because of this plunge line or this grind line. It looks very nice, but it's just not practical, right? There's a reason why knife makers make that plunge line straight, right? So that you have a symmetrical blade all the way across the cutting edge. This knife doesn't have that. So if I tilt it like this, you can actually see what the issue is, right? Because of that grind, this sort of tapers towards the cutting edge, which is okay if that tapering stops here, but it doesn't. It just continues to taper along the bottom part of that cutting edge, which when you're grinding that on a stone, you can feel it when you're hitting that corner. It just starts to really crunch on the stones, because it's just got more material to remove than anywhere else on the blade. So I had to readjust that, and you can see that grind line is sort of going up because of the material that I had to remove. Now, after reprofiling this cutting edge, it's sharp. I can cut paper with it and cut, you can shave with it. So, and it's very easy to resharpen, but out of the box, that wasn't there. Now, another issue that I find is that, and a lot of knife makers do this, I just don't get why, that spine is rounded. It's a rounded spine. Right? Henry Winkler does the same with his blades. I've had a discussion with him on that as well. He said it was for comfort reasons, while at the same time there's this jimping on the Winkler knives that's so sharp it just punches a hole through your thumb. But anyway, so I don't get why this has to be rounded. It just means that you've removed 50% of the capability of your knife, right? I've got a cutting edge down the bottom, and if I have a square spine, I can use that for scraping, for anything that I don't want to compromise my cutting edge for. With a rounded spine, I just can't use it. So it's just a missed opportunity in my opinion. Then the next thing is the handle. Now, as you can see, the handle is extremely wide, right? If I compare that with, let's say, this one, you can see that this one is way narrower, the Spartan blades. Also, if I turn it around, you can see that this knife, the Mad Dog knives, is just a flat handle. This one has a little bit more profile in it, which makes it a little bit rounder, which in my opinion, if you hold to this knife, it just really locks in. It's very comfortable. It's not too wide, but it just locks in and it holds very securely because it's a round handle shape. If you look at this one, it's just too wide, and I've got fairly big hands. If I squeeze into this, it's like holding a slab of timber really, because it's very sort of thin along this side of the handle, but it's very wide here. So when you squeeze it, you can just simply feel it pressing backwards in your hand, and then the same here, the front of your knuckles, you can just sort of feel it sort of digging in there. So it's just not a very comfortable grip. The other thing, and this was just really disappointing, was I had to re-profile this handle. Out of the box, it came with pretty much where you can see my thumb here. That was like a knob that was sitting on the handle. Now, what happened there was, like, as soon as you would grip the knife, and you can see what happens here, right? If I hold my fingers like this, you can see that this should actually be a little bit further forward, but this knob was almost sitting right there where my middle finger is. So when I was holding the knife, I was squeezing right on the top of that knob, which is just extremely uncomfortable. It's just, I don't know. The person must have had absolutely giant hands who made this blade handle, because it's just uncomfortable. Like I said, my hands are big. To be able to grip that, I had to spread my fingers so that knob could actually fit in between, which was just uncomfortable. So I had to regrind this, and I simply used this blade as a template. As you can see, it's sort of similar, but again, it's still, this gap here is smaller than that gap over there. So this tip should have really been somewhere around there to make it a comfortable grip. It's better than what it was, but it's still not extremely comfortable. And again, right, just for the price of this knife, I would expect absolute perfection, and it's just not right. The plunge line's not good, the grind wasn't good, the handle wasn't good, the sheath wasn't good. The materials, I think the materials are fine. I have no reason to believe that the materials are not strong enough. I think it's easy to sharpen. The quality of the steel is fine. The handle material it's very hard. Even if you hit it, it's almost like a sort of a glass, unbreakable glass type of material. It holds a good grip, but I think it's just uncomfortable. Same here. This slopes up a little bit, which I find always interesting, because if you just simply look at the ergonomics of your hand, this side is obviously bigger. This side's obviously smaller. You can't even push your finger in there. Right here, you can obviously push in. So this is bigger than this side of your handle. Yet knife makers always seem to make this go from small to wide, or tend to bend this upwards, which is, when you grip it, it obviously starts to dig into your pinky finger, which is just not comfortable. So again, not a very good design in my opinion. Like I said, if you want to spend a lot of money on a knife, obviously there, in my opinion, there are better choices out there. Like I said, for the price of this knife, you can probably get 2, almost 3 of these ones, or probably any other top end knife. Yeah, have a think about it. If that's what you want. I sort of went along and sort of I had it on my bucket list, pretty much based off the myth around the A.T.A.K. If you haven't heard the story, just look on Mad Dog's video about the A.T.A.K. and you can hear the story about the tender that it won, etc., etc. But I don't think it's worth it, to be very honest. So hopefully this is helpful to you. Maybe your experience is different. Feel free to leave a comment. Hopefully this is helpful to you, and yeah, good luck with choosing your next knife. Cheers.